Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today from Playmates. In their Monsterverse line, we are featuring Godzilla, Kong, the New Empire, Godzilla with Heat Ray. Okay, so far I've reviewed a handful of these figures in the 6-inch scale line, which we're looking at right now, and all of them have been spectacular. The one figure that I was kind of lukewarm to so far has been Scar King, and I think that's mostly because I haven't seen the film yet. So, maybe my impression of him will change, after I see, what kind of role he has in the film and whether or not the figure portrays the actual on-screen model accurately. But today we're looking at Kong. This is Kong prior to his evolution. He comes with this trademark heat ray effect. And it looks great. Like I've mentioned before, I love the package design. I love the yellow masthead. I think the logo, Godzilla, Kong, the New Empire, against this crazy irradiated backdrop looks fantastic, as are the close-up portrait of Kong and Godzilla together. Underneath, we have the assembly instructions. So he simply attached a tail to his rear end. And on the back, the figure is fully articulated and posable. Here are some of the other figures in the lineup. And for Godzilla with Heat Ray, harness the awesome power of Godzilla's thunderous roar and devastating tail swipe as the king of monsters battles other titans to maintain his rule. Alright, so I'm excited to check this out. If you've been collecting the Playmates Godzilla toys for a while, chances are you probably have amassed quite a collection. Because they Playmates, they make a lot of Godzilla figures, and they're always, they always kind of seem somewhat the same, but there'll always be minor variations, whether it's like the paint scheme or the included accessory. Keep in mind there's also a slightly larger figure that I think that's closer to 7 inches, and that's the Battle Roar version of Godzilla, and I do believe they have a Battle Roar Kong also. And that's an electronic figure that, it's pretty self-explanatory. It makes crazy noises. Don't forget his additional accessories. One feature that the box fails to mention is that he does feature battle damage, which you see over here. It's kind of gruesome. Like his chest and abdomen are kind of like sliced open. And then the piece for that's right here, right next to the heat ray effect. Okay, so let's assemble Godzilla. So here is the ball joint, and then here's the tail. I think ideally, if you could, I think it'd be advisable to heat this up first. Submerge this piece in like hot water just to soften the plastic. But I think you should be able to plug it in cold. But that might require a little bit of elbow grease. Let's see if we can do that. One of the Godzilla figures I had to do this with was kind of a pain in the butt, but hopefully this will go without incident and it won't break or anything. Right, I think it's in. Yeah, it's in. Wow, that's a tight fit. Right, yeah, so this requires a little bit of force. If you have little ones, chances are they won't be able to do it, so you might have to assemble it for them. And here is the heat ray effect real quick. We'll take a look at this. It almost looks like a ice club or an ice bat. And the way that functions is that his mouth opens, it's articulated, and at the roof of his mouth, you can't see it on camera, but there's a hole towards the roof of his mouth, and then there's a small little peg here, and then you insert that in there, and that kind of creates Godzilla's heat ray. which looks pretty cool. And it works also because he kind of has the glowing irradiated fins on his back. So if you're familiar with the character, anytime he uses heat rays, all the fins kind of start protruding and they start glowing. It's like him charging up. But this is really cool. I dig this a lot. And then for the battle effect or the battle damage, maybe he's in a fight with like like Ghidorah, or like the new villain Scar King, and then he takes on some damage, and then this comes off. And how does it work? There's a small little tab right there. It's kind of hard to see on camera. There's a tab, and then there's a socket right there, and you want to line them up. I kind of feel like this is an accessory that if you have little ones, they're going to lose like on the first day. Or if you're an adult and you happen to play with your toys a lot. Or if you have friends who are over and then they can't help but play with, all your action figures on your shelf. And next thing you know, they lose all the accessories. Like I have this one buddy, and this was years ago. He had a 12-inch Toy Island RoboCop. And it was really cool because the RoboCop, it was like a super detailed figure. Incredibly detailed, and like his leg would open up, so it could kind of like, if you've seen the movie RoboCop, RoboCop doesn't have like a normal holster for his firearm. His leg kind of like has this compartment that like opens up and whatnot. And then on the opposite leg, it had the same thing, but it kind of had these like grenades which were shaped like hockey pucks. And then one of his coworkers was fiddling around with his RoboCop one day, and then he lost RoboCop's little hockey puck grenade. So, all right, I'm running off on a tangent, but I got the battle damage attached. This guy is not very photogenic because he's a really dark shade. It's almost like a black, which is good if you've collected a lot of Playmates Godzilla figures, because at least this one looks a little bit different. Some of the figures we've gotten in the past, we've gotten the gray Godzilla, we've gotten some that borderline on green. We've had the other ones which are kind of like red and making him look like he's irradiated or on fire. But once the battle damage accessory is plugged in, it's not that it's a seamless look, but it blends in pretty well. But like I mentioned, just make sure you plug this in pretty tight. You don't want this thing accidentally popping off and falling behind your bookshelf, never to be seen again. But the figure is pretty, overall, I think well done. The sculpting is a little bit too soft. In some areas, like over here, it's a little bit more muddy. Whereas here, it's kind of sharp and crisp, but that's all right. The paint application on his eye, it's pretty decent. You can see his pupil. I like the articulated mouth. That's cool. His head does turn a little bit. His arms move up, and I think, do they go outward? No, they just go up and down. His legs kick forward, and there is ankle articulation, but they just kind of swivel. And then you have movement in his tail, and this is a very tight joint. So overall, I think it's a fantastic figure. I believe this retailed for maybe, I think, $16 or $18 in the States, if I remember correctly. Size-wise, you're looking at something that's roughly 6 inches tall. Here he is next to a Marvel Legends X-Men Darwin figure. So it's a great figure. If you collect the Playmates Monsterverse line of toys, this doesn't disappoint. It still kind of maintains that level of it being a toy aimed for kids, but at the same time, if you're a serious collector or an older collector, you can easily blend this in with your other kaiju figures, like maybe the Bandai Movie Monsters or the SH Monster Arts. All right, with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So, God, how do I sign off? I keep on forgetting. All right, yeah, just buy a lot of toys, and I'll talk to you later. All right, later.